Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, world, Facebook, YouTube. My name is Kristen Ryder, and I am so excited to be with you all today. Before I introduce my goddess guest and do the intro, I've got some announcements. My Platonic Sound program is on sale. We are shooting that January 11th. I am running a sale of $111 off for a cost of $444 until January 1st. It's the third time I'm going to be doing this program, and we come together to utilize this ancient, sacred technology that is all organic, of the elements activated with sound, and the groups that come together are monumental. I also have my pop-up tarot live on this Friday at 12:30. We have so much fun in that, and I get a little opportunity to connect with people and help them. I mean, whatever I got to do to help us in this ascension process, you do it. Oh my gosh, look at your kitty. Oh my gosh. Okay, folks, welcome to episode 22 of Who Are You? Who, who are you? Who, I am thrilled to be here with this goddess, Lulu Trevena. Hello. Welcome to episode 22. I know just before the show, you were acknowledging the power of the 22. And from what I have witnessed and in seeing your work, and thank you, Meredith, for referring us and connecting us. So grateful. Hi, Wesley. Welcome. Looking forward to working with you this week. I love Wesley. He's like anchoring in the divine masculine in wonderful ways. And you are assisting the divine feminine in the work that you do in assisting women to consciously move through the aging process in a graceful way. That is how I have witnessed the work that you have shared with me, and I'm so honored to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you, Kristen. And you'll hear my Australian accent, so sometimes I have to talk a little slower so you can hear and understand. But I'm so delighted to be part of your podcast. And I actually come from a family of women. I'm one of 6 girls, all born a year apart, except the biggest gap between number 3 and number 4. I'm number 4. That was the biggest gap between each child. And so I do have a lot of feminine energy that just has always surrounded me. And, I have this one story, I have women's circles and women's groups online and in person, but my mother, she never drove a car, which was really strange because her father owned a like a mechanic shop, garage type thing. So she knew her way around cars, but she never drove. So you can imagine having 6 children and not driving.
Yeah, I mean, was everything local in your environment? How the heck did she do that?
So we're talking, I'm in my 60s. So we're talking, quite a few years ago. But she had this group of women that would collect together. They would pick women up on the way, and then they would go to the greengrocer, the butcher, the supermarket. And she would do this once a week with these women. And I would come home from school when I was in my, elementary, middle school, primary school years. And these women were still sitting around the kitchen table. And I'd come in and I'd think, what are they doing?
Yeah.
And I realized it was the first view of a women's circle because they did their shopping. Then they sat and they had some lunch and had coffee and tea, and they chatted about life. And so I'm talking in the 60s. And I didn't realize it until, a few decades later, like, oh, that was a really good view for me to see I didn't know what they were doing or what they were talking about, but there was a community that they came together as. So, you know, my mum's deceased now, but that still holds true in my heart, that she showed me, you know, the possibility of women coming together as sisterhood.
Sisterhood and support. And it's so interesting. I am the middle of two sisters. My brother, rest his soul, was the oldest. And I think when my mom came home from the hospital with another, Mom, you had another stupid girl. I know, but we would always gather around the kitchen table, the heart of food and medicine and coming together. It was always in our kitchen. And we don't realize it because we've been so disconnected from ceremony in current social programming, or let's just call it past social
Mm.
programming, to hold that new timeline. But six sisters, that is amazing.
We've got 5 sisters, 6
Oh,
girls.
the five, you're six. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're the sixth, but the fourth.
yeah,
May
yeah.
the fourth be with you.
I've actually just finished writing a guide about bringing the sanctuary back to the home, and the first guide is about the hearth and the heart, because the kitchen is the hearth, and the actual word hearth came from heart originally. So for women to actually want to be in that environment of the kitchen, not doing all the work, but you know, bringing that energy of their feminine essence into the hearth of the whole home. Um, and yeah, so that guide's not available yet, but it's soon to be available. It's one of my digital products.
Wonderful. So when someone is attracted to your work, can we just get a little about of how you came? I mean, obviously you came into this work from how you were brought up, which is stunning. It feels very organic and natural for you, but what is the deep work that you do to assist your clients?
Yeah, I'd love to share more about that. So you know, I do believe I had a spiritual calling from a young age, and I did actually you know, see visions and get messages. And I do remember telling my mother and my grandmother once about these, and I wrote a story in one of the chapter books I'm in. Um, and they wanted to shush me down really quick, that I said I'd seen energy, and they wanted to close that down.
Because that wasn't allowed.
But
Wow.
for me, it was because I got the energy of that, thinking, oh, that's really important. If they wanted to, you know, like sever it, I thought, wow, that I better remember that. So I've remembered that all my life. And, you know, I even remember having, you know, visions when just sitting in the bath and laying down and having my body above me and looking back. So lots of stories like that. So I feel I've been led a lot. And of course, we're not just led by the good messages, we're led by the challenges as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, doing my healing work. And I originally was a hairdresser in Australia.
Best place to start. My Virgo sister is a hair designer too. It's like, welcome to Psych 101.
And it's funny, I would say I'm more an introvert than an extrovert. So my the owner of the salon at the time would want me to chat, talk all the time, talk all the time. And I used to think, like, it felt like chewing gum, like you were just chewing gum. And I wanted to have good conversations and meaningful conversations. So I learned over time, you know, which people I could have that with and which people were open to that, than, you know, just what are you doing this weekend sort of conversation. So I went from hairdressing to a training role in a big company. And so I got to see, you know, all the background around events and all, you know, being a presenter and a speaker. So I had that role as well. And then when I married and had children, oh, and I came from a yoga background. So I sort of found yoga in my early 20s and had a few mystical experiences around just even the smell of the incense.
Yeah.
So when I had my children, I chose home birth, which was not kind of as common as, you know, many people choose. But I kind of feel like I live more on the fringe of society.
Yes.
Um, so Yeah, from my having children, and I have 3 beautiful daughters, um, and doing home birth and choosing natural routes and also using organic food and homeopathic remedies. I chose that as the path, and then with schooling, I chose the Waldorf and Steiner system. So I kind of was always on the fringe of the rest of the family, and I always wanted to write. That was kind of my in, like I wanted to be able to write so people could kind of feel something. But I didn't trust my writing. And it wasn't until we moved to the United States when I would turn 50 that I started what was called an apprenticeship with Elephant Journal, which is an online indie magazine. And we had to do this apprenticeship for 3 months, and we had to write. We also had to manage one of their pages. So then I got to see the social media part of, what it looks like. And to graduate, we had to get 10,000 views. And I already knew the rest of the people in my group of the doing the apprenticeship, and they all had college degrees, etc. And I did not. And I was like, yep, this is not going to work. Well,
Right.
I was one of the few that got 10,000 views. So once I got that, I was like, maybe I should not believe wherever I took that belief on that I couldn't write or I didn't, because I think I do have a little dyslexia. Um, so I never kind of trusted my process. It didn't look like this standard literature process.
Right.
It's more organic, somatic based process of me feeling or even channeling information. So after that, I started writing, but the whole time I've always gathered with women. Like I've been what I call myself a gatherer. If there's something interesting, whether it be a documentary or an event, I'll gather people that are like-minded to do that type of thing. So working with women over the years with, a yoga background, a meditation background, I have coaching background, quantum healing background, and I have life experience, and I'm a traveler. I'm an avid traveler. So I've been to, so many countries all over the world
I
that,
think that's
that
the
brings,
best teacher too.
a great wisdom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so, what I feel that I offer anyone who works with me is to be a really good listener. I think that's kind of one of the essences that gets lost in the noise of society.
Mm,
So when I'm working with a person, generally women I work with, I'm listening for what it is their desire is calling, what their heart longs for, what kind of they've been navigating for a long time, and they're just like kind of sick of the story around it,
right.
and how we can take those quicker life hacks, if you like, to get there. Because we're not like, let's be in therapy for 25 years. That model, I think, has been and done. So we want to move people more to their heart's desire. And so anyone working with me, and a woman, I want her to connect with her sacred womb. Her energy of the womb is a portal of creativity. We think of it as the place we incubate a baby, but it's the place we incubate anything.
Yeah.
And as women, the more we touch that essence, that energy, the more we can bring that forward. Just a side note, at the moment, I'm actually in a group about sacred celibacy. And so that's another level to that energy of the womb, how what we would normally put into a relationship, into our sexuality with a partner, how we can connect to that energy and bring it back in ourselves. So there's a whole, there's quite a few people doing this quite nowadays.
Well,
Because
and
we
that's
want to use that.
that's a cleansing opportunity, right?
Absolutely.
To like shift the frequency and address, cleanse out, and then hold space, which is the divine feminine.
Mhm.
Amazing. And how long, like, how long do you have the participants do the celibacy practice?
No, I'm partaking in that one.
Oh, oh. What called you to that? Because I know you're past your second Saturn returns. You moved to America in your Chiron returns, which is another chapter beginning. Second Saturn returns is another chapter. So you're really coming into your wise woman crone years. So I'm fascinated what has inspired you to practice celibacy.
So I don't know that I would have been, put your hand up, let's do celibacy. I actually really like sex,
Yeah.
um, but I'm more interested in the energetics and the actual creative energy that we can reuse in our own body. So
Mhm.
that's what I'm really interested in. I am actually post-divorce, a couple of years post-divorce after a 30-year marriage. So I'm choosing celibacy in many ways anyway. And when people tell me about dating, I'm like, I'm not sure.
Right? Right.
I'm not sure I'm an app person
I
unless
same. I am
unless
not
it's
an
my
app.
app.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I'm the app of my womb, and I'm gonna figure this out and attract it organically because my womb knows better than my mind, right? Yeah, I totally feel you on that, and congratulations. So in the program so this is someone else facilitating the
Yes. Let's go back to my program, which is a
Sure.
digital program called The Sacred Womb. And I developed this to release release any past lovers, but also unlock your own creative essence. So it's a home edition program that people can work with. And I would say that it before you work with me personally, I would want this to be one of your understandings. Like,
Mm,
I don't think I work with the newbie person that's not ever done anything.
yes.
I'm more with someone who has been traveling this path for a little while. That's who I tend to attract and who I work with. Um, so yeah, in my the Sacred Womb course, women will get an awareness of just their own power, how they've, whenever they take anything into their heart, it's actually going to connect to their womb anyway. So that's where we want to cleanse from as well. And then we want to restore it to its innate, beautiful essence so that then we can create what we want. And so that's why it's a home edition. So people can just work with it themselves. There's not any, physical exploration that you need to do, or, womb gazing with your mirror, none of that in this particular course. But
Okay.
it's a good introduction course for women to
And
start
this
with
is
me.
all pre-recorded and
Yes.
they can experience it in their own time, and
Yeah.
it's on your website, lulutrevena.live.
That's
Accurate?
it. Yeah.
Amazing. And how long is that program? Like, is it like a 12-week or a
So because it's a home edition, there's numerous lessons that you work through. I suggest people work through at their own pace.
yeah,
So I would say it could take you 6 weeks,
6
something like
months?
that. Yeah. Just to kind of round that a little bit more, I want to, like I don't want people to get stuck on the celibacy thing. I want people to understand the pleasure aspect. So, women are pleasure beings, and often we think it kind of comes from out there.
Mm.
I want it to be back in centered in yourself. So would you mind if I read my poem about pleasure?
Oh, I would love that. Thank you. You're
Yeah.
such a Gemini. She's a Gemini, everybody, communicating her goddess truth. I love it.
This is a recent poem I wrote. It's called Your Pleasure Invitation. How much beauty can you invite in? How much beauty can you cradle within yourself? Can you hold it not like a possession, but as a sacred gift, fleeting and eternal all at once? Can you breathe it in so deeply that it electrifies the marrow of your bones? ignites a spark in forgotten corners, and whispers to cells you thought were sleeping.
Mm.
Can you let it flood your lungs like an ancient hymn sung by the stars until you exhale, your exhale becomes a prayer? Can you welcome it to pull behind your eyes, an ache so tender it bursts forth, drowning your cheeks in the softest hallelujahs? Will you drink it in your through your gaze, not just see but devour, until your retinas are canvases painted with the world's unending hues? Can you sip it like nectar, savor it slowly, its sweetness seeping into the cracks of your guarded heart, coaxing forth blossoms you swore would never bloom again? Will you let its melody cascade 1,000 notes, washing over you until your ribs are a harp, each chord strummed by the universe's touch? Can you let its fragrance linger, haunting in the way only something infinite can be, drawing you closer to yourself? And when it touches you, when it presses into the marrow of your bones, can you let it transform you until your very breath whispers back, yes, I am alive. Yes, I am whole. Will you let it brush against your skin, its warmth rippling until you quiver, delightfully alive in every molecule? How much beauty, love, how much can you invite in? Take a breath, take a breath, take a breath.
Well, I would say you have mastered your writing. That was stunning. And just with you know, I love your accent, but the warmth of your voice, the warmth of the words, and the invitation of all of it, that is the gift. That is the feminine, and it's so round and juicy and delicious.
And it brings us the awareness of sensuality as
Mhm.
way higher than sexuality. Because our senses are what makes us come into this human existence. Through our senses is how we navigate it all. It's how we make sense of it all, really, of this reality is through our senses. So even though that may touch people in a sexual way in some, it is very deeply sensual, and that's what we invite in ourselves. And no one can make us do that. Only we can. It's our invitation. It's where will I come up against that? That point where I stopped before. Do I want to continue, or do I want to withdraw? Pull back. We get a sense within ourselves what feels the most right for us. Yeah.
Yeah, and it brings up the uncomfortableness, where our hearts may be guided from past wounding. And again, it's the safe invitation to level up our own intimacy with ourselves. I mean, I felt that poem very much in my heart as you were expressing it. And it felt like a dance with your words and the journey. And I was like, oh, I'm here and I'm there. And it was very flowy and beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. Do you have a book that you've written of poems or
So my first book, which is Soul Blessings,
mm,
um, which I won the Silver Nautilus Award for, it's it's
congratulations.
it's poetic prose and full art color.
Oh, look how
So
stunning.
every page is actually, I was told not to do it this way, but every page is a different font. It's a different font. I just chose different fonts.
Well,
Um,
because it imbibes a different visual energy, right?
Absolutely.
And why limit it to one font? That's so old paradigm, Lulu.
And because this was my first book, when I knew I was going to write this book, I was like, white paper, black ink. No, 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 no. So yes, it's a beautiful, it's beautiful feeling, and it's and from this book I also did a deck of cards, which is my moments of transformation cards, and it's the same artist, so it's not my art, it's Laura Bowman, and we met synchronistically, and I'm so glad that I have her art in my book, and then the cards, once again have different. Let's pull a card. Let's just pull a
Oh,
card.
let's do. I know. We said in the green room, we were like, we're just gonna play. It's like we're
Yeah,
having
we'll
our own
just bring.
goddess, their own big goddess
Yeah.
ceremony.
Okay. Here's for today. We have belief,
Oh,
and let's see what. I need my glasses. So the small subtitle under belief is reliant faith, and the message is belief is unwavering momentum through faith, pushing past resistance to take up purposeful action, trusting in your resources, knowledge, and feeling. And the deepening process on this card says, what is calling you forth that you need to be reminded to bring to life? A garden that needs to be creative with your love and tender care, a book or poem only you can write, or a piece of art or song that reflects your flair, or a cause worth supporting that touches you deeply. Take time to journal your dream action steps.
okay. You don't do a lot of astrology, but you cannot write this, folks. We are at a step 19 Sagittarius. That's the degree the sun is at today. And Sagittarius rules our beliefs, our philosophy, our stories. And it's the I love to take action based in love. And I love that you walk people through a process in those cards, and the sun is trining Chiron, encouraging all of us to take new action around a healed ego and the healed story with it grand trining the sun. And you pull believe. You can't write it, you cannot write it, Lulu. Absolutely perfect. Oh my goodness, those are wonderful. So
Mm.
you give action steps and journaling prompts and things in the cards. That's wonderful. And these can all be purchased on your website, correct?
True. And I also do have a journal that you can companion with the card deck. And there's a few quotes in the book as well. Because I feel, you know, let's see, I think I have at least 40 card decks. And
Oh,
it's
wow.
it's great to read the card and have the visual. And I always recommend, when you get a card, I don't mind which deck you're working with, but when you get it, the actual visual tells you something. It's going to give you a message just yourself. So to actually explore that in your writing or your journaling is a really good thing, the first step of any card. And then if you've got a message, I would work with a card for at least 3 to 7 days, because
Hmm.
it's not. I know we're talking about we're in a fast-paced life, but we want to kind of get the next layer and the next layer and the next layer. So when you work with a card for a couple of days, you get more messages along the way. So journaling about the card, and that's why I put a deepening process, because a lot of cards don't have that. They don't have, well, now I've got this message, what should I do with it? So it felt like that was the most authentic way to have this card deck, which is called Moments of Transformation, because it is in a moment that we get to change our belief, we get to view something from a different perspective. We actually just release something and go, oh yeah, that doesn't bother me anymore. So it's in a moment that we actually do transform, and many moments, create our life. So
Then there's the integration opportunity, because when the energy shifts like that and we release something, there's a space where something new can land.
Absolutely.
And the journaling and the reflecting and the taking time with it to allow it to blossom is the opportunity. That is just stunning, and I love it, and I do several tarot decks myself, so I'm like, "I guess I gotta get my journal out now." 40 decks you work with. Now those this is your own deck.
No, this is my own deck, and when I'm with clients, I don't work with every deck that I have. There's a few I work with, but I have purchased 40 decks over,
Wow.
and I do have a little cabinet that has them all in, um, because I love art. I love art. I love the way that people bring their energy and essence into something, and it's like this gift, this offering. Um, so I definitely attune to that, and I do have some people that I really just love their work, so I buy pretty much everything they have. Um,
Time for some retail therapy. Let's get more cards.
yeah.
Now, so you're really up to working. I mean, you're in your crone wisdom, and your work is not for the newbie, shall we say, as you expressed, someone that has been working on their journey for a while. What are some of the commonalities that you have discovered in working with your clients, like a through line that many women struggle with?
I definitely feel that I've noticed that menopause is made very clinical, and it's not. It's a spiritual opening, a spiritual opportunity that is presented. And yes, there will be physical conditions, but working with that. So at menopause, women are faced with themselves at a different level because they've already gone along with the societal way of, be a good girl, then get good grades, then get married, then have children. They've done all that, and they did it as best they could. And then they get to like, something's not quite gelling here.
Yeah.
So menopause is a really good place in for women, and to connect with other women and listen to stories. And be aware that change is always something that is calling us. Like if we were to stay stuck in anything our whole life, that there's no real growth or adventure or fulfillment or purpose or mission in that. We have to be changing. So when we welcome that, it gives us even more kind of jet fuel for the journey. I think there's a very big correlation with menopause and divorce, and I don't know that anyone's ever explored that. I think it would be worth looking at that because, once again, women are facing themselves and saying, okay, maybe I've got another 35, 40 years, 50 years on this planet. Is this the relationship that's going to get me through that? So I think there's a correlation there. Women also have tried so hard to be, in their physical structure, what is appealing to everyone. And I think that loosens its hold in your 40s and 50s, that you're like, well, I'll keep myself fit and I'll keep myself healthy as I can, but like, I'm not gonna, like, I don't know that I have any high heels anymore. I have some platforms.
Same. No, no, I knew heels were going to come up in this
I'm
conversation.
like, yeah, I don't know.
Theater. I lived in New York City. I was always in heels. I had my son at 40 and then separated from his father at 42. So I'm a little and am currently witnessing menopause. And so I'm like, you just nailed that whole story right there. But I'm a little ahead of myself in a lot of things with life and knowing what my heart is asking for. But I'm in the mountains now. I don't wear high heels. I don't need heels. I'm barefoot most of the time. I love to connect with the planet and earthing. And heels are uncomfortable and they're not good for you.
So you do know do you know the story behind heels?
No.
two kind of stories. With a woman with heels, she can't run away as quickly, and it changes her balance and her legs so that she kind of looks a different shape.
It's true, because I'm always having to, like, tuck my tailbone, and I sang and sang in Manhattan at a cabaret bar, bartending and singing, and I was always in heels. And I tell you what, I am more myself, more grounded, although because of Rocky Horror and stilettos, I can still run pretty fast in heels. Although I haven't tried recently. I haven't tried recently. That makes so much sense, though. It's a misalignment. It takes you out of your authenticity and out of your heart space because
Mm-hmm.
you're having and your womb space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. What?
So I wanted to say that my third child, that was born when I was 41,
Mm.
um, she was definitely, she's a gift, as all three are, but she was a gift to have in my 40s, because it's a different part of your brain is already kind of changed as well than when when I was in my early 30s. So it was a different way of parenting as well, totally different, and I think that's why often older children to younger children, they say, like, well, you parented us differently. Well, we do, because we are changing, we are becoming different people as well. So I feel very blessed. She's just turned 21, and yeah, the journey women take as sisters, daughters, wives, mothers, it's a quite a complex journey. And then throw in that our bodies bleed every month. It's like it's a it is a lot. And so we do really need sisterhood on this journey. And I actually call myself, I've been saying this term recently, I'm crowning to croning. I don't think I'm quite a crone yet, but I'm crowning. Just like when you give birth, there's this new energy just before. So that's the flow that I'm in, is this, like some people call it the empress stage. So, I've gone from mother, and I'm not quite a crone. I'm in the in-between place. So I think that's where I help women to do this next part of the journey, because many of our mothers didn't have the awareness, or didn't have the way forward. So we're in a great time in the planet for this to be of support to others and to younger women.
And that's so powerful, as women, it is a blessing that we get that physical representation of the shedding with our cycles every month. And I feel a little bad for men, especially in today's society. There's no way for them to have that physical expression of it. And there's no burying them out in the woods, or, some men do honor that and go camping or whatever. Would you possibly encapsulate this phase as your queendom?
Yeah, I guess, we can put labels on anything. And I think, women know when they're there. I think women definitely have a sense when they're, oh, I'm letting go some of the role of mother, and
Mhm.
now, where am I headed? So whether it be your empress, your queen, soon to be crowning, yeah, or croning, either one of those. But let's make it glorious. Let's make it,
The
it's
ceremony, the celebration of it, the honor of it, the gratitude. Because even in menopause, I mean, when we become mothers, like, and after the birthing process, the DNA of that child is with us forever.
Mhm.
And it's like you can't write that. But I was just watching something on Instagram, on my Instagram, late night stream or whatever, the actual physical changes that a woman's brain goes through, that we lose a lot more of that forceful energy, or which I think is a blessing in the consciousness of the feminine, integrating for all of us in such uh God, powerful ways in this now. It's so delicious and challenging. Have you noticed, because you've always been so focused, and I love the celebration and the coming together, because something that I've witnessed in women coming together, even musical theater, in the dressing rooms and whatever, our cycles sync up, but the competitiveness that women have taken on to put others down or up. Are you practiced in assisting women heal some of those wounds or traumas?
I think I have a fairly good body of work around, any sort of sisterhood type wound, because anytime we've been pitted against someone else, that's where that wound shows up. It doesn't have to be we've got sisters, ourselves. It can be women in work or in, any sort of area that we've been involved in a sports, group or anything, any area we've been with other women. Most women tend to have some sort of wounding around other women, and to heal that, there's layers to that, and it actually takes someone who wants to be a really good female embracing energy for another woman for that to actually deeply heal. I have some friends recently that were kind of like, I'm good, I can do it. And I kind of leant in and was like, but I'm here. Sometimes it just takes a little edge of something to realize, oh, there's really people here to want to support us through that. We don't have to always do it on our own. We don't have to soldier on and push through and all those things. I think we're past that era for women. And I generally find women are very celebratory with each other and they really want the best for each other. But that's, I'm 62. It's taken years to get to that. And but I really do think it's worthwhile making sure that you heal whatever that sister wound is, for any woman, because there's a different connection and relationship you can have with a woman than you have with a man, whether he's your partner or primary, love companion. There's something else that you get from women, and I really want that for every woman to have that experience of being with women that really see them, hear them, don't need to compare with them in any way, but hear their story and go, just like me, just like me.
The coming together, like, I see, yep, I've been there.
Yeah.
And then, so that brings me to, in so much of today's society of, strong American women being the breadwinner and the mom and the dinner maker and the homekeeper and then going through a separation, some of us with younger children versus older. What about the mother wound have you experienced?
Yeah, that's a big one too. Yeah. So yeah, I work with women around that as well, and yeah, you know, in my Sacred Womb digital course, I talk about that when your grandmother is birthing your mother, your eggs are already inside her. So there's such a generational imprint that we kind of, in general society, people think, oh yeah, that happened to my grandparents or my parents, but it doesn't affect me. It actually really does. We really need to have the stories that have been told over time, and then mine for the treasures that we can get from those stories to actually heal that, not just for ourselves, but generation this way and generation in the future. So yeah, a lot of my quantum healing work does around generational things as well, which is very important for people to do. But yeah, mother wound, sister wound, witch wound, father wound. There's so many of those that we sometimes don't know that they're still operating in our life, But
Mm,
we can tell, because if this thing keeps showing up this way, this is where we know the original
source.
source. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that is so beautiful. And I'm hearing a little bit of sound interference. Is anything? Your ruling planet is retrograde right now.
It actually is coming from my computer, but I don't know what that is.
Oh, maybe it's the fan. You're too hot, Lulu. You're
I'm
too
too hot.
hot. We're really cooking with gas here. I love it. I love
I
it.
think it is that. Did want to say, besides coaching women and doing circles and workshops, I do work one-on-one with women, and in a VIP situation where they actually come to my home. I
Mm,
live at the beach in Florida, and
wonderful.
I live at a really eclectic type artistic home, and where I focus directly on the woman. And I call that format "It's all about you," or "It's all about me." So the woman says, "Yes, it's all about me now. It's all about me," because we've been for everyone else. It's make
Wow.
sure they're taken care of, they're taken care of, they're taken care of. Now, what about me? And bringing all that love that you've given out all those years in your life,
Yeah.
and now like nurturing just you. I want it to be all about the woman, all about who they are, what they want to experience, what they want to do. um, so that's yeah, I offer VIP weekends as well.
Beautiful. I love that. And I want to see if it's possible technologically for me to drop this beautiful image in the chat. I don't know if I can do that, or let me see if I can expand this, because you've got an offer for anyone that is witnessing our show today. I don't know. Let's see if we can share this screen. This is the technological part of it. Select tab. Okay, entire screen. Let's do window. Here it is. Oh my gosh, I'm figuring it out right on the spot, Lulu. Can you
Look
see
at
that?
that.
Here we have Lulu Trevena, live life with wonder, live life with wonder, and live it. An award winning author, poet, artist, soulful living coach, retreat leader, and speaker, Lulu Trevena is a passionate advocate for belonging, self discovery, and redefining the narrative around women and age. She inspires audiences to embrace their journey with courage, capacity, and the recognition that wisdom and vitality flourish across all stages of life. Through her heartfelt storytelling and transformative practices, Lulu helps individuals reconnect with their inner wisdom, honor their unique journeys, and rediscover the wonders of life. And you've got a website link here, your Substack, and an Etsy. You're all over the place, Lulu.
In all the arenas.
That is, I'm inspired. I'm like, boy, do I have a lot of work to do after this show. So, folks, if you want to do that, I'm going to see if I can see that I can copy this and post it underneath this video for today. I'm going to stop sharing so I can get back. Did that show up well?
It did. I could see that. I could also drop just a text format, I think. I'm also, of course, on Amazon. I have 8 books on Amazon, and on YouTube. I'm on YouTube as well.
And all of those links are available on your website, because I'm going to go subscribe to you after this. You know that, right?
Good girl.
So, one other question in covering all the demographics, we've covered, I don't believe I'm middle aged. I think I'm going to live to be 125. So I'm last year of 40s. Do you work with women in their 20s as well?
Um, so my youngest is 21 and my oldest is 31. I haven't worked in that arena because I've been in that arena.
Oh, sure. You're like, I need a break. It's all about me.
Um,
You're
but
like,
I,
I feel
I,
that
I I
empathy.
also think I'm middle aged because my grandma taught. She lasted to 104.
Oh, wow.
Um, and my mum, so that's her mum. My mum died at 56, so she kind of nearly my grandma doubled my mum's age. So I think I'm more like my grandma in where I'm going with my um, genetic biological makeup. But I also have my father who's very youthful, looking at 91. So I've got it on both sides of the family.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of feel middle aged, but I've been to a few networking things where there's been a lot of men, and I've been told that I should work with men.
Well, I think they need your help right now. I love that it segued from the younger gals to the men. Please divulge. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
let's do it. Yes.
So I've participated in many groups to do with sacred union and Heros Gamos, masculine and feminine, and I actually have found since getting divorced the deeper friendship to have with men that doesn't have to be anything other than friendship. So kind of am having a different understanding around men post post divorce, which is very interesting. And as you heard, I came from an all women family.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I believe there's a lot out there that are really seeking now to understand more. They also want to kind of get out of the ingrained patterning that's happened by the patriarchal society that we've both been damaged in. Both women and men have been definitely damaged in the patriarchal way that society runs. Um, and I actually believe that their hearts are so deeply want to connect with another female. Sometimes they just don't know how to really do it. They
Sure.
kind of get ingrained in some patterns. So I'm open to working with men, and
Listen to your voice.
I'm like, am I really? Am I really open?
Well,
Let's
it
see.
feels like something is well, Jupiter's in Gemini. It's retrograde until the spring, but that is an expansion in your heart's consciousness because in my opinion as we evolve through, this ascension and consciousness shifting process, a little bit of teaching and hand holding for the men, not to say they're less than or they don't, but they just don't know because we haven't known either, right? So is that what you're witnessing in the opportunity to maybe facilitate something for the masculine?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I'm not sure why this is coming in now, but I'm aware that I didn't mention about safety, and I think
Mm,
that's a really important thing for women, um, and I think it's important for men too. Like, there's been a level of um, when we don't feel safe in ourselves from whatever our own wounding is, there's also that plays out in every arena of our life. But then if we don't feel safe with the other, that's going to play out as well. So, you know, um, when women walk into a room, they don't know they do this, but they will look around the room and find the exits. They will find the windows. They will also scan for every man in the room to see how tall he is, how big, his muscular structure is, so that they feel safe. If there's too many like that, imagine walking into a bar with, I don't know, bodybuilders or motorbike riders or something. A woman would not naturally feel safe in that environment. So that we just do that as a scanning. If we don't feel safe, we will leave that place. We will not stay. That's really important to understand your own intuition around feeling safe.
wow.
So then if you go on a date with someone and you don't feel safe within, the first 5 minutes, it's a really good practice to leave, not
Mm,
stay just because. And likewise for men, if you feel like you're in an environment and a woman's being, whatever towards you, and you don't feel safe, it's okay for you to realize, I do not feel safe, even as a man, to not feel safe, and then to remove yourself, to protect yourself. So I don't know why that came in right then, but that's what
I love it. I love that that came
it,
in, and thank you for that channeling, because safety is it's the first and foremost in exploration of any type of healing work and relationship work. I mean, I even had a conversation a few weeks ago with my partner, like, okay, and the communication around it, because even having the communication around the fact that we don't feel safe is a safety issue, but it has to be communicated in order for that safe container to be set, in my opinion. But I love that you offered that channeling so people can give themselves the permission to honor that intuitive insight that they're experiencing, and to say, you know what, this just isn't going to work for me. I'm going to go.
Mm. And that started for me a little bit. Maybe it was just before I had my children, but when I had my children, if their grandparents came over and they didn't want to hug them, I said that was absolutely fine.
Yeah.
The generation before would have said, no, just go and hug your grandma or go and hug your grandfather. But I said to my children, no, if you don't feel like you want to do it. It's not that they were unsafe people or whatever. It was a child understanding within themselves, oh, I can be sovereign, I can know what's right for me. So a lot of us didn't get that as children, so now that we have to reparent ourselves around that,
Yeah.
and take air on the I don't feel safe right now quickly, as opposed to, oh, I'll leave it another 5 minutes, or I'll leave it 10 more minutes, or whatever. No, now, right now.
Draw
Be
the boundary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've given my son that permission for sure. And I know a lot of my sisters that have younger children practice that of the utmost with their daughters. And it is an empowering thing. Like, no, you do have some control over your choices, and the kids being born now are very powerful. Holy moly. They like come in with their sole purpose. They know what they're here to do, and they ain't having no bones about it otherwise. Which I find amazing for humanity. Now, if people are, yes, this is exactly what I was going to ask you. It's like
um,
telepathy is real. I'm going to put this
so
in the
yeah,
chat.
I was going to
Yes,
say, I think that's only to the private chat, isn't it?
that is to me, but I can put it in the public chat.
Oh, okay, great.
We're crushing it, Gemini. Crushing it. I love it. We didn't even mention that we were going to do this. And I was like, and that's what's coming up next. And it's like you're reading my mind.
And I'm just going to drop in my Substack, because I think I don't know if I told you, I've recently decided to put all my writing on Substack, and I've only been on there 4 weeks, but like I'm nearly 50 articles in 4 weeks. I'm thinking, who wrote those articles? Me. And I was like, how did they come?
Amazing.
They just came so quick. So yeah, that's my Substack.
I love it. And so, folks, if you want to find Lulu and her powerful work, I mean, I feel like I got a ceremony just being
Yeah.
with you today. And, I had a feeling, what were we talking about? I don't know. I was probably showering or getting ready for the show. And I was like, I have a feeling we're going to talk about heels. I don't know if I can ask her how old she is. And we got all of that in there without even saying. And I'm just like, I'm loving it, because the warmth of your energy and the support and the space holding is just so beautiful. So we've got the way that my guests can find you, and that's going to be posted in our chat. So folks, I encourage you to seek out Lulu. And I believe you have a special sale for my subscribers that have watched this to witness your work. And can you let us know what that special is?
Yeah, so I'm offering 20% off any of my products. That's digital products, physical products, my books, my journals, my everything. And even my services until the end of the year. And you just need to put the coupon code "You Are Awesome," all capitals. You for you, R for R, and awesome.
All
Um,
right. Love it, and I can actually show that, and that's till December 31st.
Yeah,
Can you believe we're at the end of 2024?
I
Thank you
cannot.
so much for that gift of beauty and wisdom, and I'm like, "We're in Florida." My mom's in Homosassa. I want her to come see you.
Yeah, absolutely. Come visit.
It's an hour north of she's an hour north of Tampa,
Oh, okay. I'm on the
other side.
East Coast. Yeah.
East Coast, East Coast. That's okay, that's okay. Oh my gosh, Lulu. Well, we are at an hour. I am
Oh,
just so honored for your yes and your energy and your wisdom. And my heart is overflowing of gratitude for all that you have shared and the safety download that you channeled for us and your beautiful poem and your cards. If you had one last thing to share with everyone witnessing this, whether it's live or after, what would you like to share?
so the sense of wonder. How are you going to move from this moment forward, inviting wonder into your life?
Mm.
I offer that it's available always to every human being on the planet. This sense of wonder, and how curious are you uh, in how you show up? Like, do you show up exactly as you are all the time, or is there some way that you want to show up a little different way? Like, be a little bolder, be a little more unabashed, be a little more attentive or present. Like,
Mhm.
how curious can you get about who you show up as being, and add a huge dose of love to everything.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That is a perfect way to wrap up episode 22 of Who Are You? Lou. Who. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. I pray you have enjoyed this podcast and show, episode 22 with Lulu Trevena. Do seek her out for her wisdom. She's got magic for you, therefore, everyone you know. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. Lulu, do stay on for any last minute catch ups and sending you all so much love and many blessings, everybody. Thank you. Share this with your friends, like and subscribe. Ciao for now.
Bye.